Hey everyone, it's Joy here, and I'm excited to share these big birthday shaker tags. Now I'm using the nested tag dies, and I have die cut two sizes. These are going to be the back portions that we're going to do some stenciling on, but I want to create the front frame that's going to hold our acetate. So I'm taking two different size tags and I'm going to line them up. I'm going to center that smaller one in the bigger one. I'm using some gold mirror cardstock. And I want to create this nice gold frame that's going to go on the front of our tag. So I'm going to tape this in place and I can run this through the die cut machine. I'm also going to do this for the smaller one as well. So now you can see this is how the frame is going to look on our back piece. And that looks so nice with that gold mirror cardstock. Now I have that scrap piece from what I just die cut. So now I'm going to take my two other tags. These are the smaller ones. That little one I'm going to push up towards the top and leave a thicker area at the bottom because I want to put one of my sentiments down there. So again, I'm going to tape that in place and then I can just run this through the die cut machine once more and create another gold mirror frame. Now let's get to the stenciling. I'm using Honeybee Stamps Layering Balloon Stencil. There's two stencils, and then I'm using some Distress Oxide inks. I'm using Salvaged Patina, Shaded Lilac, and Kitsch Flamingo. So I want to start with my first background. I'm just going to use the Salvaged Patina and ink up one solid color with just this stencil. I did spray the back of my stencils with the Pixie spray because these are kind of fine lines and I didn't want the stencil to wiggle around. I did intentionally leave some of those balloons with a lighter area and darker area. I love to do that with stenciling, but on these top balloons, I did not do that. Now, the next color I'm going to use is the Kitsch Flamingo, and I'm using the blender tool with the domed foam on it, and these blend so lovely. And I'm just going to do some of the balloons at the top because we have a third color that we want to bring in, which is the Shaded Lilac, which I'm going to do at the bottom here. So this is the largest tag. And as you can see, the stencil doesn't cover the whole area, but that gold frame that we created is going to cover the top and the bottom, so it's no worries. Now for the smaller tag, I'm starting with the Shaded Lilac and the smaller balloons. I just thought I would do it in a different order. And then again, the Kitsch Flamingo at the bottom and letting those two kind of blend together. And then taking that other balloon, the second balloon stencil, and then just using the Salvaged Patina over the whole top. I just think these colors are so fun for birthday balloons. Now I have Scrapbook.com's acetate pieces, and I'm going to die cut two pieces, one for the larger tag and one for the smaller tag. And what I did was take a tag die that was in between sizes, so smaller than the background but bigger than the center cutout frame. So you'll see here in just a minute how that lines up, so it makes it a little bit bigger than the opening because obviously we need to adhere this to the back. So I just added some tape runner and then I can put these in place. And I'm just cleaning off all of the little paper pieces from die cutting it. Let's place this little one in here. And now we have our front to our shaker. Now I want to stamp on the foil and on the acetate. So I'm using Jet Black Stays-On ink because this ink is going to stick to non-porous surfaces like plastic surfaces or mirrored cardstock. So this first sentiment says happy birthday, and this is from the happy birthday stamp, and there is tons of sentiments on this, big ones and small ones. So I am using not the smallest one, but I love how scripty it is, and then I'm going to use a big one, and this one says happy B-Day, and it's an open stamp, so this would be one perfect for coloring. But I'm not going to be doing that, of course, on the acetate. I loved that it was open so you could still see all the balloons behind it. So again, inking it up with that Jet Black Stays-On ink right in the center. And I'm doing this first before I adhere all the pieces together because once you have the foam tape and everything behind it, you're not going to be able to stamp it properly. I'm going to put this back in and stamp it one more time to get a nice, good, crisp image. Thankfully, the MISTI makes that nice and easy so you can line everything back up. And now we have this large sentiment on our large tag. Now there is little hole dies in the nested tags die, and I'm using the smaller one. I'm adhering the back piece. Well, I have the back piece and the front piece together, and I'm placing the hole on the front, and I want to die cut through both of the pieces at the exact same time. That way they are perfectly lined up, because once we get foam tape between these two layers, it would be a little bit harder to get them exactly lined up. So I'm doing that same thing for this big one. I have both the front and back piece together, and then I ran it through the die cut machine together. Now I have some foam adhesive here. I folded it in half, and then I'm cutting thinner pieces. This is what we're going to use to give us some dimensions so our shaker bits can move around freely. Now I'm going to adhere this on the back of the acetate piece on both of them. This smaller one, you can see that bottom piece I did a little bit higher because I don't need the shaker bits to go all the way to the bottom of the tag. So both of these will have the same exact adhesive behind it. I'm only going to show you the small one though. I will be using some gold sequins from Spellbinders, and I'm just putting them on the background so I can see kind of how much I want. And then I'm going to dump these into the piece with the acetate. Now I'm lining this up in my MISTI. That way I can just adhere the back. I can line the back up, and it lines up perfectly, and then just press down firmly to make sure all of that foam adhesive is nicely adhered to your back. That way your little shaker bits don't fall out. So lining it up in the MISTI is a really great tip to get this lined up straight every single time. Now I'm going to take a few of those same gold sequins from Spellbinders and just adhere a few of those on the fronts of the tags. So that way when the shaker bits are down at the bottom, you can still see some of them all over your tag. Then I have some gold string from my stash, and I'm just going to put that through the little hole at the top, tie a knot, and then trim the excess off. And I'm going to do that for the big one and for the small one. And I have to say, I love the size of these. I really love that big one, but even that small one is still on the big side. And these sentiments are fantastic. The scripty sentiment is beautiful. And of course, that big open sentiment is just fantastic. These birthday tags turned out so great. Thank you guys so very much for stopping by and watching, and I hope that you enjoyed this project. Have a wonderful day.